Destroy all humans. That has to be the punchiest title in video game history.
So what do you want to play? I got some Twisted Metal, I got some Crash Bandicoot, some Ape Escape, some Mortal Kombat, the Complete Edition even, or how about some Destroy All Humans? This was the coolest game in the world. At the time, anyway. Destroy All Humans has you playing alien invader landing in 1950s America to wreak havoc and eventually conquer the world.
Of course!
In simpler terms, all the fun of Grand Theft Auto with aliens. At the time, that was completely unheard of.
A fun fact for you newcomers, this game of wanton destruction and chaos was actually inspired by Matt Harding. Yeah, this guy. He didn't stick around to work on it though, saying he didn't want to dedicate so much time on a game about killing everyone. Love the game, but I think that's a respectable reason. Good on you, Matt.
But what is the story of Destroy All Humans? Yes, there is actually a story going on in between all those random killing sprees.
You are Cryptosporidium 137, or just Crypto, an invader for the evil Furon Empire. He is numbered as such because he is the latest clone of the original Crypto. The Furons use cloning to basically achieve immortality. It's also how the game justifies extra lives, so by the end of the game, you could be Crypto 1 million if you're not careful. Crypto speaks in a perpetual Jack Nicholson impression.
What's shaking, Pox? You look a little, what's the word? Constipated.
You work under Orphopox 13. He's the supreme genius responsible for all your weaponry, but all you really need to know is that he's played by a man named Richard Stephen Horvitz. Never heard of him? Let me help.
Now then, I know what you're thinking. What can I, a lowly novice, do to help bring about the destruction of Earth and the inevitable reign of the Furon Empire? Well, I'll tell you.
Stay away from the power amplifier! It's sending out deadly waves of stupidness!
Passengers and components are both made of carbon compounds. They must have gotten the Soylent Green leather interior. Pricey option!
You're after my robot bee!
Crypto may be the one with the disintegrator ray, but I think we know who the real star is here. Still Crypto? Well, it's a close second. The game presents you with two major goals. Humans have a strand of Furon DNA needed to keep the species alive, and to harvest it en masse, you'll need to take over the world. A second, more immediate goal is the rescue of Crypto's previous clone, Crypto 136, which was captured by the military. It's actually kinda heartwarming, really, if you ignore the fact that you're basically out to rescue yourself, and will likely get hundreds more of your clones killed in the process. As you can tell, this game brings up some pretty heavy concepts. You're on a quest to restore immortality to your own species through the extermination of another, and you'll be doing battle with the US government, which, as it turns out, is just as bad as the Furons, if not worse, since they subjugate their own people and experiment on them. It's the sort of game that makes you stop and wonder, am I really here to have fun, or is there a deeper meaning? I'm just kidding, the first level has you fling cows around with your mind. I dropped a cow on a cow. Now the cows are dead.
Cow tipping? Oh, that's cute.
Turnip Seed Farm is the only level in the game with only one main mission, but you can come back at any time just to mess around. It's a tutorial stage, so you'll learn the basics, such as using your jetpack, your regenerating health, reading minds, your first gun, piloting your saucer, and lifting cows with your brain. No, really, this actually comes up in the game more than you'd expect. You also get a brief glimpse of the quote-unquote villains of the game, Majestic, who we later learn are led by the mysterious Silhouette. These guys are basically the Men in Black, if they were evil. So actually, they're more faithful to the Men in Black comics than the movies. Majestic Agents are some of the best enemies in the game. I always look forward to seeing them, so I can kill them. Like Grand Theft Auto, the game has various threat levels. Majestic is a level higher than the military, so if tanks aren't killing you fast enough, this is the next step up. Their laser guns pack a punch, but that's nothing you can't deal with. No, the real problem is the Holobob. At any point, you can disguise yourself as a human with the Holobob ability and sneak around undetected. But if you stick around a Majestic Agent while disguised for too long, they will turn it off. This means that if they start overwhelming you, you can't just sneak away. And on top of everything, they're responsible for these goddamn EMPs! Fortunately, the game gives you plenty of ways to kill these bastards. You got your disintegrator ray, your zap-o-matic, your ion detonator, and your anal probe. Anal probe? Yes, you spent almost the entire game armed with an anal probe. And not only that, but it's actually a pretty important weapon to have. It's one of the primary methods of collecting DNA, which you need to advance through the game and upgrade your weapons. And trust me, you'll want to upgrade your weapons. I wouldn't call Destroy Humans an especially hard game, but you can get caught up wrecking up the place, and the next thing you know, a Majestic car slams into you, and you get your tiny green ass kicked.
I am not green.
And of course, you have your 4 mind powers. There's scanning, otherwise known as reading minds, psychokinesis, otherwise known as lifting crap with your brain, extraction, otherwise known as head exploding, and finally hypnosis. Okay, actually that one's pretty obvious. Actually, scanning is one of the best things about the entire game. You can scan almost every NPC in the game, and they each have something on their minds.
Why won't those commies invade already? I want to shoot me some Reds! Heck, what am I so worried about? What's it to me if the president gets whacked?
Well, it was either busting crooks or go back and get my doctorate in quantum physics.
What is really good is that just about all your abilities and weapons are useful and fun, so you get good use out of all of them by the end of the game. But of course, the best is psychokinesis. EMP blocking your gun? Just throw it away! A tank blocking your path? Just throw it away! Majestic Agent giving you grief? Make him dance! And throw him away! Giving you powers in this game is just such a good idea that it could have easily fallen flat. But no, they get it just right. It kind of reminds me of the Spider-Man 2 video game where they started using Spider-Man's web swing to the fullest for the first time, thereby revolutionizing all subsequent Spider-Man games. Nailed it! You really do feel like an unstoppable force of destruction, even if your enemies can fight back pretty effectively. Sadly, I can't say the same for the Saucer. I can't honestly call the Saucer bad, but I can't exactly call it great either. Until you get the Sonic Boom, your weapons aren't all that great. For one, your Abductor Beam doesn't really do any abducting, and your Death Ray is just really awkward to use. I think the big problem is that unlike Crypto, the Saucer doesn't regenerate health by itself. These power-ups just sort of float around, but you can destroy buildings to find more. The problem is that the Saucer isn't all that maneuverable, and you will eventually become bombarded with heat-seeking missiles and Tesla coils. If you do get into a city-smashing groove, this will definitely ruin it for you. And why is there a missile launcher set up right next to this farm? What possible reason would you have that on standby for? Was that just a thing in the 50s that people don't like to talk about? Actually, that can be a problem at times. Even with the excellent gameplay, one of the game's biggest strengths is its humor. That's all well and good, but a lot of it comes from poking fun at the 50s setting. So if you don't know an awful lot about it, some of the jokes are going to fly right over your head.
Boy, do I love my new Edsel. What? It's a classic in the making.
I don't know what an Edsel is. Fortunately, most of the game just has to do with general B-movie goofiness and the infamous Roswell incident. And before you say it, yes, the Roswell, or Rockwell alien in this case, was Crypto-136. I don't know why I even brought this up. You already figured that out the second I mentioned that there was a captured alien in the 50s. On the subject of B-movies, there's a mission early on where Majestic is using Plan 9 from outer space to hypnotize moviegoers. So naturally, you hijack the screening to play Meet the Furons instead so they can be your slaves. And then I blew them up. Because I'm a terrible person. Ha. In fact, there's more than one mission where you just hijack Majestic's evil plans for yourself. I like how you and Majestic are basically competing for the Arsehead of the Year award. I'd like to thank the Academy. Unfortunately, I killed them. Whoops. Being the main enemies, the game is technically more about you overthrowing Majestic than it is taking over the world. Actually, come to think of it, at the end of the game, you replace the president, effectively taking over the United States in order to harvest more brain stems. You don't destroy all humans at all. In fact, you need them to keep breeding so you can get even more brain stems. That's like calling the movie Destroy All Monsters and the film isn't about destroying all Hey, maybe it's an homage. Now, I could go on for hours about how this is one of the best games of all time. And I did, but I'm a nice guy, so I'm gonna cut all that out for your convenience. Aside from the saucer, probably my biggest complaint about the game is the graphics. I'm no expert, so I can't say if the graphics were great for the time, but they haven't aged well. Is this a human or an alien? I'm kidding. That's obviously a human. Obviously, there is a lot of stuff in this game, so I think the graphics can be mostly forgiven. I mean, sure, human faces look like scrunched up bits of paper, but you get to fight the president whose brain has been put into a giant robot.
If elected, I promise to destroy all Furons!
Oh, and there's this escort mission where you protect a nuclear bomb. Even the promise of nuking Majestic doesn't salvage the fact that this is an escort mission. Also, Silhouette is actually a hot chick. What a twist. To sum it up, Destroy All Humans isn't perfect. It is, however, a fantastic game with a variety of reasons to be played. The game lets you harmlessly play out your supervillain fantasies in a world that, quite frankly, you won't feel that bad about destroying. Besides, I'm Australian, it's not like I have any reason to care what Crypto does to America. But even as Crypto sits in the Oval Office, newfound king of his domain, his days of invading are not in any sense behind him. Soon he and Pox would learn that there was far more to our insignificant blue planet than just the United States. Despite what said states would personally have you think. In time, Crypto would ride once more to destroy all humans! Except, not really.
Ooh, baby, do you know that's right? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth.
What am I doing? Oh yeah, the same thing I do every night. Try to take over the world.